I want you to picture this. A woman walking with her boyfriend is suddenly attacked by a knife-wielding robber. He slashes at her backpack. She fights back hard, pushing, clawing, refusing to give in. And the boyfriend? He ducks behind a wall like a coward and watches. He does nothing while he sits there and watches his woman that his duty is to protect get attacked, completely helpless. He stood there and waited until others rushed in. This viral clip outraged millions. I'm going to play it for you now. So we can see here, man's run in to rob her. You see him in the white shirt just off to the side, completely freezing, not doing anything, too cowardly, completely untrained, undisciplined, unreliable. This would be an ultimate failure for a man. This is a result of over-feminization, cowardly behavior, a lack of ability to be with his own fear, and she's left there responsible to fight this attacker off with a knife. You see her going for it, refusing to give up. There's another guy there too, just watching, not doing anything. Two cowards. Two cowards. Now all the men rush in to help her. So it even says in the title, while her companion hides behind the wall. Multiple men come over. This is good. This is what masculinity is. Masculinity comes in and saves the day. She was really lucky. Now he comes in to check on her. If I were that woman, you'd be getting rid of that guy in a second. You would not let that guy around you ever again. People outrage by this because the man simply froze, and I don't blame them, because deep down in our biology, we expect men to step up. We expect men to act decisively, and we just expect men to protect. The problem with modern society is that this expectation isn't toxic, it's biology. But where we start to let the wheels fall off is when we say we want men to be strong, to lead, to be reliable, and then we demonize the same traits that we ask men for. This is mainly from women that ask this. Men don't really ask it of other men, it's just expected. That street moment is not random. It's a raw flash of the traits of evolution wired into men. Decisiveness under pressure, risk-taking, emotional control, ability to face danger, and a sense of sacrifice. When a man truly loves a woman, he will sacrifice for her. Men show love through action. This man does not love this woman. He's a coward. Now, what was surprising and funny when I was doing research on this is that Harvard Business Review did a long-term study on the stereotypical masculine and feminine traits in the workforce. The Business Review labeled stereotypically masculine in the workplace as assertive, competitive, independent, decisive, emotionally controlled, and critics called it bias, as in the study was done to try to take masculinity, uproot, I think they called it, to uproot masculinity out of the workplace. I will show you the exact list that they found. So here we go. Characteristics stereotypically coded as masculine and feminine in the workplace. This means masculinity is objective. We talk about it as being we can't define it and it's ever changing. No, it isn't. These traits don't just exist in the workplace. The workplace is just the new form of wilderness that men have to survive in. So do women. But we look at this, stereotypically masculine. I'll read the list. Self-reliant, assertive, competitive, influencing, confident, analytical, brilliant, decisive, independent, individual, self-promotional, risk-taker, separate, leader, context independent, and bold. These are stereotypical masculine traits. Now, stereotypical feminine. Nurturing, agreeable, collaborative, adjusting, modest, holistic, warm, restrained, interdependent, relational, other promotional, patient, connected, follower, context dependent, and humble. Now, why that's really important is because we can see in today's society that the stereotypical feminine traits are what people are labeling healthy masculinity as. We're trying to turn men into women. This is not a biased study. This is what reality calls pattern recognition. Work didn't invent these traits. Evolution did, and they were built for hunting, defending, competing, leading, and building. And today I'm just going to show you why these traits dominate every hierarchy, every economy, and every culture, and why pretending it's just social conditioning is just pure fantasy. And we see that in society at the moment. There's a lot of people caught up in pure fantasy, trying to define reality. When we don't get to define reality, reality defines us and we live within it. That Harvard Business Review list isn't arbitrary. Assertive, competitive, independent, decisive, analytical, risk-taking, and emotionally controlled, these map directly onto male evolutionary psychology. Men competed for resources, status, and mates. David Butt, who's one of the, if not the foremost expert in evolutionary psychology, in his book, The Evolution of Desire, says, in every culture studied, women place a greater value than men on a mate's status, ambition, and resources. And men compete with one another for access to women, and women choose among the men. So what does that mean? What's the result of that? It means that male psychology specializes in competition, hierarchy, and performance. Build a system around status and results like every workplace, and the traits that win are the ones evolution gave men an edge in. This study that he did was replicated time and time again, and I think there were 37 samples, and 36 of the 37 all proved the same thing. This was cross-religion, cross-culture, cross-society, you name it, and the same thing comes up. Why are we arguing with this? We're arguing with it because of ideology. We're trying to fit biology into ideology, and it doesn't work that way. Because biology didn't make men nicer. It made them effective in harsh environments. Our biology is different. Our skin is thicker. Retinas have a different shape. We have more testosterone, which drives risk-taking, dominance, ambition, and emotional containment under stress. Male brains, on average, are more systemizing and object-focused. We can see further. We're wired for movement. We focus on movement. Female brains, on average, are more empathizing and people-focused. Simon Baron-Cohen in The Essential Difference says, the male brain is predominantly hardwired for systemizing, the female brain for empathizing. And on average, females show stronger empathizing and males stronger systemizing. Now, I don't know about modern females on the whole being more empathetic. I think that they've become quite cruel and pretty savage on the whole, the way that they treat men. But there is still a lot of women out there that are very empathic and nurturing and quite beautiful in the way that they do that, because that's their natural biology. Modern work is pure systemizing. It uses targets, goals, processes, machines, deadlines, and hierarchies. So the rewarded traits align with the male bell curve, not because men rig the game, but because reality demands that to happen. Innovation happens here. Complex problem solving happens here. This is why men are wired this way. And then, we have this idea that we don't need men, right? Strong, independent women that don't need a man. And what they fail to see is that the infrastructure of the world is run by men. Men do the dangerous jobs. This video is not about that. This video is about making sure we understand the biological differences and that masculinity and femininity is objective and measurable. This blank slate myth that claims men and women are psychologically identical until culture writes who we are on us, that's a myth. Steven Pinker, in his book, The Blank Slate, says, and I quote, "The assumption that the mind is a blank slate is not only false, it is harmful. And sex difference in personality are among the largest and most consistent effects in psychology." When we see these differences show up in work success, that's not oppression. That's biology expressing itself in a competitive environment. We just don't have the same contact with nature anymore, where this type of competition and hierarchy and drive expresses itself. Now it's just been designed in the workplace. Nature will set up the relevant environments to honor biology, and it will continue to do so. The issue now is that work is treated like a HR therapy support circle. And it's not. It's simply not. Work is pressure, scarcity, competition, and hierarchy. It's basically survival of the fittest in suits. And the traits that thrive in there are decisiveness, emotional regulation, independence, and competitiveness. Every civilization reflects this. Construction, warfare, engineering, exploration, trade, historically male-dominated. Yuval Harari in Sapiens says this, and he quotes, "Throughout history, men have monopolized warfare and political power, and biology sets limits on what cultures can invent." Work became masculine not because of patriarchy, but because masculinity evolved to solve the hardest, riskiest problems. The guy in the video didn't solve the problem. He failed to solve the problem because he acted overly feminized. He ran away. He was scared. He became a coward. His emotions got the better of him. This is why one of the things I specialize in is developing emotional control. I do this in my men's group. We walk men through separating from overly feminized ideals. Uncomfortable? Sure. Reality? Absolutely. And it's important that men go down this path, because if they don't, life will initiate it for them. This was that guy's trial. That was his initiation. And he failed his initiation. In tribes, when we went out into our initiation, it was to be taught about emotions and to make sure we didn't succumb to fear. If we didn't complete the task and stay out in the wilderness, or whatever task was assigned to us for the allotted time, could be a year, could be a week, could be a month, it doesn't matter. If you came back early, you would never be allowed to ever try again to pass the test to become a man. That guy failed. A guy will never be able to become a man. That's his natural instinct that he hasn't sharpened, that he hasn't been able to overcome. He hasn't been put in enough hard things, that he left his girlfriend to essentially die. So what goes wrong when we deny our natural instincts? We pretend the sexes are psychologically identical, and these things follow. These are disasters. One, normal male behavior gets branded toxic. We live in a feminized society, and we're trying to say that men need to be more feminine in order to be more masculine. It's just gaslighting. The second thing is women get judged against male standards and men get judged against female standards. And then so competence becomes political. Men are punished for assertiveness. Women are pushed to act against their natural strengths. Then everyone suffers. There's a great book by Christina Hoff Sommers in The War Against Boys. She says traits that come naturally to boys, such as competitiveness and physicality, are increasingly viewed as problematic. And we're trying to turn boys into defective girls. That's not progress. That's ideological confusion. We think we live in a progressive society. It's the most chaotic, it's the most damaging, it's the most backward society that I've ever seen, that I've been alive in. It's so unstable. And the reason why is because men and masculinity hasn't been developed. Now, this isn't saying that raw masculinity is perfect. It's not saying that raw femininity is perfect either. It needs shaping. It needs direction. It needs cultivation. When you suppress it, you get lost men. The same lost men women message me every day asking me, how do I help men? How do I help my son? How do I help my husband? Because they know deep down that there's something wrong, that men are lost at the moment. They get frozen in crisis, stuck in boy psychology. Robert Bly in this book, fantastic book, Iron John, says where a society does not have a clear initiation ritual, boys remain stuck in boy psychology. How many of you can relate to either feeling like a boy, being told you're acting like a boy, or being in a relationship with a boy, for the ladies out there that just can't seem to step up, that's still attached to his mother, that hasn't stepped out from the influence of his father. This is what I take care of in my men's group. This is why, even though we talk about initiation here, most men's groups are more like women's groups. They're for venting. They're not for problem solving. That's why my group is different. We literally split from feminine dynamics. We step out from the father's shadow. We develop inner authority and an inner strength. Masculinity is inner strength. It's not about emotional reaction and being uncontained. Healthy masculinity is trained, disciplined, and directed towards good. It's not denied or demonized. And only men can walk men through into initiation and out the other side. Now, this is an important thing I'm about to say. None of this means that women can't lead or show courage. The woman in the viral clip proves that they absolutely can when it matters. In fact, I'd say she was probably more of a man than he was. It also doesn't mean that men shouldn't develop empathy. That guy in the clip that didn't show up just lacked good male role models and had probably poor examples of a man. It also doesn't mean that one sex is superior to the other. And it means averages differ, preferences differ, and distributions differ. This is what I always say. Women lead in connection, hence relational focus. And men lead in direction, hence a purpose focus. Men cluster towards competition, systems, status, and hierarchy. And women cluster towards people, communication, care, and relation. Both are vital. Both are important for the survival of human existence. Forcing sameness creates friction and failure, which is why we're seeing there are going to be 45% of women by 2030 are single aged, I think it's 25 to 44. 45%. 45%. Never in history have we really seen that. And we're seeing the collapse of polarity because of that. And so like that video didn't just show a failed moment of protection. It showed the ancient expectation that still lives in us. That men act as decisive actors in high-stakes situations. The same traits we expect on the street are the ones rewarded at work. And the Harvard Business Review list, it's not bias. All it is biology that's been made visible. Ignore it, and we keep punishing reality. Embrace it, we build stronger men, happier women, and better systems. So if you're tired of the ideological landscape at the moment and want truth about masculinity, and you're looking to potentially step into becoming an initiated man, then subscribe, follow below, share this with people. This channel deals in reality, not wishful thinking. I have two options. There's a course, which is a high-value man course. This is not your money, muscles, game, and frame shit that's out there. That's just rubbish. This is about purpose and identity versus performance-based identity. It will have knowing your enemy in there, what we're up against, what our biggest challenges are as men. It will have virtues to live by, values, how you can actually garner those and step up and work on those. There was a study done by Deloitte where women said they want loud dating, meaning they want a man of value. How do you become a man of value? You develop your values. It's all in the High Value Man course. I'll put the details below. I'll link an option for my men's group as well. It's not open to everyone. I keep it very limited about who I let in simply because it's a long journey and it's not for every man. You need real courage to step up. So again, subscribe, share this video, and I'll see you soon.